Have you ever wanted to be the first to know if aliens really exist? Well, with Nebula, you can be! Nebula is the streaming service that's home to It's Probably Not Aliens, as well as our YouTube channels. And the best part? All of our content goes up early on Nebula. So when we break first contact with ET, you'll be the first to find out. That's right, you'll be able to listen to the next episode of this show before anyone else. Plus, we post bonus content that you won't find any other place. And the best part? By signing up for Nebula at nebula.tv/probablynotaliens, you're directly supporting the show and both of us. So don't wait any longer. Join Nebula today and be the first to know if this time it really is aliens.
Give it to me straight, Tristan. My family may visit Canada this year, and I feel like tensions are a little high between your country and mine.
A little bit, yeah.
But have you seen the Canada tourism ad that is being played in America?
I heard about one that played during the Super Bowl.
Okay.
But I haven't heard of anything recent now.
So this ad is just like a stereotypical American, kind of like a rich, preppy American, really, going up to a hotel in Canada and just being like, hey, I'm here to check in. And, the person at the desk is like, oh, where are you from? Well, she starts speaking in French first. And that's your first clue that this guy's not Canadian, because he doesn't know any French. And he makes a point to be like, I don't know any French. You got to speak to me in American. He doesn't say that, but it's sort of implied. And then she starts to ask, like, oh, okay, well, where are you from? And he says, like, in a whisper, sort of like, I'm American. And then she, like, hits a button under her desk, which you'd think is like, oh, a panic button, right? Like, uh-oh, we have an American here.
Yeah.
But all it does is, like, it opens up the little, desk, so she can, like, walk out from behind the desk, and then she just plants a big ol' hug on this guy, and the ad is just hug it out. That's the Canada tourism ad is
Aww.
Hug it out. So let me ask you, how accurate is that? If we were to visit Canada, if me and my family, because I was trying to learn French earlier this year so that I could blend in. That's a true story.
Okay.
I was trying so hard and I failed.
Aw, bang.
Well, it's mostly I deleted Duolingo because they replaced all of their stuff with AI slot. But then, so now I'm just like, what do I do? Do we need to still, like, what's your country's?
Hi, it's Max again, one of the editors. Once again, the rat got into the house, and once again, it ate through the audio file. I do apologize. I hope it won't happen again.
That's a really good question, because, like, the temperature, I would say, like, yeah, like, back in, like, a few months ago, was really freaking high. Like, people were pissed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much of it actually blew down south, because usually it's not very much, but there's the elbows up thing that happened. So I guess a Canadian, what's his name? Austin Powers.
Mike Myers.
Yeah, Mike Myers. I think he might have been on Saturday Night Live or something like that, but he made a reference to elbows up, which I guess is a hockey term, and it's like about, like, get ready to fight type thing.
Oh yeah.
And we elected an entire new government that's based entirely on, like, basically divorcing our ties to the United States and all this kind of stuff. And so, but I mean, like, half the world's doing that. And then there was the tariffs and everything. But I would say is, like, there are two countries there's probably no two countries in history that have a more entwined history and relationship and friendship. Like, this is another thing that doesn't really make down south, but the American Revolution is as much a like beginning point for Canada as it is for the U.S. Like, we are really, like, twin siblings in a lot of ways. But I would say, like, it's this. I went to, like, the serious answer instead of the joke answer, and the serious answer is don't two big pieces of advice, and everybody will be just super nice to you.
Okay. All right.
Say the province before you say the country, because a lot of Americans don't like America has a much more unified concept of what it is. Canada is 10 independent countries pretending to be one country, and they all hate each other. And so so very much being like, oh wow, I like Canada, this is such a great. If you say like Ontario or Quebec, because I think you're going to Quebec, especially Quebec, because Quebec is kind of like the Scotland of Canada.
I think we might be going to Montreal. I don't remember anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Montreal, French won't be that big of a deal. There's a lot of English speakers in Montreal. And also, just if you say Quebec, they will be very happy with you. And to just
awesome.
I think this is like a tone mismatch that happened in the earlier months this year. A lot of Americans thought that all the 51st state stuff was kind of like funny or kind of like not that serious. Canadians took it extremely serious and were very threatened by it. And so the 51st state stuff is just very not funny to us.
Okay.
So but if you keep to those two things, even saying like oh, I love Canada, like Quebec, it's hit or miss, but for the most part you'll be okay. Just like lay off the 51st state stuff, and
gotcha.
Other than that, people will be very nice to have your tourism dollars, and also
perfect.
Just
I love that.
So you're good.
How good's the maple syrup up there? Is that all hype or is it good?
The thing is, you're going to one of the places where the maple syrup is actually a big deal, because Quebec is like one of our biggest producers of it. It's just north of Vermont, right? So it's like the same climate.
Perfect.
Did you know that we had like a thing where, this is a fun thing. So maple syrup, how it is made is that you need to tap the maple trees. You put like a metal thing in the tree. Did you guys learn this? Is this just a thing that we learn in like Canadian public school?
Do I learn it in school? No, I do not learn. Did you not learn? Not how to do it, but like this is how it happens, right? Yeah. Okay.
Like you do learn that there's like a bucket and a little spigot that's like hammered into the tree.
I didn't learn it in schools, but I have seen videos of it out of my own curiosity.
Okay, so that all happens. The thing though is that the time when you can get maple sap that is good for maple syrup, because what that sap really is it's like the tree's antifreeze. It's the stuff it keeps to keep its insides from freezing during the winter. So that's why it's full of sugar. So what you need to do is you have to tap it like the couple of weeks where the temperature first goes like above freezing. So like the very, 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 very early spring.
Okay.
That means that you basically get all of your year's supply of maple syrup, that all that's going to be produced basically like in the first like month or so of spring, but it has to last all year. So there's like large reserves of maple syrup. And then you have like that's also maple.
If I go later in the year, I'm getting the old stuff. I'm getting the old stock.
Kind of.
That's no good. I want that fresh stock.
Well, if you go at that time, there's going to be a lot of what are called sugar shack events, because a sugar shack is like a sort of, in Quebec, sugar shacks are like these like places where they like, because what you get out of there is very diluted. You have to like boil it to distill it down to the syrup.
Okay. Yeah.
Like in the early spring, if you go to like Montreal, Quebec City, you're going to have like maple everything, maple ham, maple sausages, maple, there's even a sort of a treat called sucre de neige where they take maple syrup or hot maple syrup and then they pour it on snow. And then when it hits the snow, it like turns kind of gelatinous, almost to like the texture of like a taffy. And they they wrap it around a popsicle stick and you eat that. So it's a very fun time of year. But yeah, like the thing is that all the stuff is collected in this like first few months or first month or so. And then it has to be stored throughout the year, which means that we had like a strategic maple syrup storage. And there was a heist.
I've heard about this heist.
A multi-million-dollar maple syrup heist. I think they made a movie about it.
Oh, did they? Excellent.
But it's a fun.
Did it wreck? It like wrecked your economy or something.
I mean,
didn't wreck it.
Canada's economy is oil and mining more than it is maple syrup, but
that's not what I've been told with my limited knowledge of Canada. I think it's just maple syrup and apologizing. That's all I know as an American.
That's fair. Oh man, I just realized we completely fucked up on starting a podcast, which I think is what we're doing right now.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, we should record the podcast that we're doing, because my next question was going to be I was going to ask you about all the slurs I'm not allowed to say in Canada. It's Canada specific slurs, but we can skip over that and we'll just go straight to this podcast that we do. This is a podcast we do.
Hi, internet.
This is a show called It's Probably Not Aliens, where we look at and debunk some ancient astronaut theories and, pseudoscience, pseudo-archaeology, that kind of stuff. And we just try to have a good old time. I'm one of your hosts, Scott Nicewander. I know nothing, including about Canada, I've learned today. I've learned so much already.
I'm Tristan Johnson, and I live in Ontario. And which is in Canada.
I'm learning so much.
It's a callback joke. And yeah, today we are also going to learn that I too very often know nothing, because as per doing it for the second time right now tradition, we like to start our little seasons with a corrections episode, because I want everyone to know when we start this that, you should only trust the information that you get from randos on the internet. So far, we try our best. We do a lot to be diligent, but at the end of the day, I end up veering into a lot of having to make myself an expert in a lot of subjects that I, don't have advanced degrees in. I'm trying my best. And at the end of the day, unless you're reading something very long and dense from an academic press, even then, always be skeptical. Just always be skeptical. And so these are a few incidents that we're going to go through. I have a collection of 5 here.
Yeah, and I just want to give you a little slack that it's not just you who makes mistakes. I see one correction on here that specifically starts with Scott. So it feels like I got something wrong. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so I've got 5 quick corrections here, and it's a way for us to just say, hey, don't cite It's Probably Not Aliens on your essay. Let's just say that. But we try our best, but we're humans.
Fun thing to listen to.
So
let's dive into it. What do we get wrong?
Let's go first to so we're dealing with corrections that came from episodes 102 and 103. Episode 102 was going to be high on in my mind of list of episodes that's going to have mistakes in it, because it was one that we recorded in a hotel room in Michigan.
Oh, right. This was after we had watched Ancient Aliens live, the live show, correct?
Correct, yeah.
What a fun time this was. We should do that again.
I think I remember ending it with a whole bunch of stuff about being wow, there's a lot there's a lot of people should be really scared about all this pseudoscience, and there's a lot of Trump supporters here, and this should be concerning. And then nothing came of that, obviously.
And then nothing came of that. I'm fortunate about that.
Nothing has happened on the Donald Trump front since when did this come out? November of 2023. So I think we're all good.
We're all good.
Yeah. So the first one we got here is from Charlie. Thank you, Charlie, who said, oh boy, hey, Tristan, how did Canada get its name?
Oh my gosh, how fitting that I didn't even know this. I was going to start with a Canada question or correction.
So what they do, apparently, is that they put all the letters of the alphabet into a hat and pull them out one by one. CANADA.
Canada. That's pretty good.
Be careful with that joke. It's an antique.
I wasn't planning on making a lot of A jokes while I was visiting, just so you know.
Because we all know that Canadians all sound like we're from upstate Michigan, or upstate, upstate Wisconsin, or whatever that accent's actually from.
A. Oh, yeah, A.
We do say it, honestly. Exactly. It is part of sort of the Anglo-Canadian accent of about. I think I say about weird in a way compared to you. I don't know.
I've never noticed that about you, but that's just me. There are definitely some people where as soon as they say about or sorry,
sorry will do it.
Yeah, I'll be like, oh, you're Canadian. I get it.
There's a few other ones I did not know this, but and maybe this is another incorrect thing, but this was a thing that I saw about the Canadian accent, is that I guess other places don't drop a syllable in probably, because I guess everyone else says probably, and I just hear probably is pretty normal.
That's pretty good. Yeah, no, I would say most of the times I hear probably, I say prolly, like Prolly, only because I think it's funny to say. And it sounds it's like an internet speak thing that I picked up when I was like in high school, where I was like, prolly.
And also, I'm married to a U.S. immigrant, so I have a few other ones that always stick out. Like seltzer is called sparkling water here. LaCroix isn't a thing here. Bubbly is. So if you want LaCroix, the version of it is called bubbly. It's I got a can of it actually
we've got bubbly here. But we also have LaCroix.
They advertise with Michael Bublé.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. And I'm trying to think of like little things. Like I'm building on this of like the kinds of because some of them have died. Like I remember like Canada was a lot more distinct when I was a kid than it is today. Like nobody would call a couch a Chesterfield today or anything like that.
Oh, is that? Is it the Bare Naked Ladies? Are they Canadian?
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're from like I remembered like when they first got famous, everyone was like, "Oh shit, those guys from like the GTA." Like they were when they broke famous, they were like a well-known thing in like sort of the area around Toronto.
Okay, because that makes sense now. Because in their song, "If I Had $1 Million," there's like a throwaway line about like maybe a nice Chesterfield or an Ottoman, and I'm like, what is a Chesterfield?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
That
actually helps me.
That's actually got a couple other good ones because also Kraft dinner. Apparently, Americans don't say Kraft dinner; they say mac and cheese.
Okay, that also helps. Yes. There's so much about this song I didn't
Since you're
understand.
an American going to Canada, I'm assuming what you're going to want is LaCroix and macaroni and cheese. So you need to get Kraft dinner and bubbly.
And I want to eat that on a couch, on a sofa, on a Chesterfield.
I will say this is a fun thing that's just unique to this summer. So patin is like when you're in Quebec and you're drunk at 4 a.m, it's like it's a national delicacy that is I think spread to America now.
Yes. Hold on. Pronounce it one more time because we do not say it like how you said it.
Most people in Canada don't either. It's patin in like if you speak French, but it's poutine everywhere else.
Yeah.
But I've been, I got punished enough when I lived in Quebec for saying it that way that I killed it. But Ontario, Southwestern Ontario, the region I live in, is developing a growing in popularity alternative that I love. And everybody I explain it to, it's extremely polarizing, but I think it's going to be,
I'll try anything.
It started in one little chip shop in like called the Chip Ship, about an hour and a half from here.
Cool. That's another thing we don't have here. Is a chip shop. I don't know what that is.
Like a French fry stand. I don't know.
Sure.
But this place, it's like through the food market and like the festival circuit, it's really taking off this year. This is like a this year thing.
Describe it. What is it?
They're called pickle fries.
Pickle fries.
So it is, you take a thing of French fries, just regular old French fries. Then you put dill flavored ranch dressing on top. So that's the kind of that like that you put that sauce on top. It's tasty. I mean, ranch is a polarizing ingredient, but then you take a bunch of dill pickles and you almost you shred them like you're making coleslaw almost. And you put you liberally put that on top, and then you sprinkle dill on top. That's what it is, and it is the sort of...
That sounds like the most delicious thing I've ever heard of in my entire life.
I know, right? I had it just a couple weeks ago, and I think about it a lot. But yeah, it's look out for it. Pickle fries, everybody. Okay.
I'm looking out for it.
So to wrap up Charlie's line here, sorry, just listen to the episode where you guys say send us your shitty jokes. That was our dumb one from the middle school growing up 20 minutes from the border in Michigan. That feels like a joke from Michigan. So it's apropos of the episode.
Fair enough. Yep, that worked. It ended up fitting in more than I thought it would.
I live 2 hours from Detroit, so hi friends, howdy neighbor. If you ever feel like seceding, I'm sure we'd be happy to have you.
Yeah, all you got, Michigan. If you ever feel like seceding, just raise your hand.
Shoot a little mitten
because it looks like a mitten because it looks like a hand.
Okay, so the next one we got here is from Rage Crayon. Twitter.com/Rage Crayon or X.com blaze your glory. That's X, the everything app. This was just so you know, this was submitted to me on December 5th, 2023. Just so you know where we're at on this.
Oh my gosh. So we are so behind.
Yeah. I mean, it's just an ongoing thing, and I think that it's more fun to actually break down all of the corrections and give it more of a substantive answer than to just do cram as many into it. So I think the new policy is, instead of like being extremely diligent, I'm just gonna find a few that I think are neat and have a good response to, and we'll kind of go from there.
Absolutely.
This one is from Scott. This one is to Scott. So Scott.
It's to me. Yeah.
Yeah, this is from episode 103, which is our one on Dulce. It's
Okay.
Area 51, but underground.
Yes.
Scott, New Mexico was part of Mexico when the Trail of Tears happened. The routes that follow the trail are all from southeast to present-day Oklahoma, though it's not a bad guess since after the Trail of Tears, indigenous people continued to be displaced to Indian territory. So,
Okay, I don't remember what I said. This was almost 2 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know what you exactly said, but yeah, the idea is that the Trail of Tears was a government policy to basically remove lots of indigenous people from sort of like the East Coast states and send them primarily to what would be modern day Oklahoma. Fun fact, did you know that Texas used to have a good chunk of Oklahoma inside of it, and then they said you're above the lateral line, so that if you become a state you'd have to ban slavery, and so they cut off a chunk of the state so that they could keep being a slave state, and that's why Oklahoma looks weird.
That's why it's got the panhandle?
Mm-hmm.
That's wild.
Isn't history fun? And then, yes,
history's wild, man.
After the Mexican-American War, when the U.S. Under the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, which is when the U.S. or when the United States of Mexico ceded several of its states to the United States of America, specifically like all the ones that you know of as colloquially usually as the American Southwest, including New Mexico. And then when white people wanted Oklahoma's land, they then started kicking people out, and even more indigenous people started moving out to the Southwest, and then there's the people there, and not good, not a fun part of American history.
No, very few things are a fun part of American history.
Yes, shouldn't say the East Coast states, the southeastern U.S. That is it. Yeah, because it would have been going over the border. So indigenous placement did not stop. Tribes were relocated throughout the West in later decades until they even decided to come for that stuff too. So if you want to learn more about that, the sort of the sequel to the Trail of Tears that no one asked for, you can look for things like the Long Walk of the Navajo, which happened in 1864, and other such events. Like there's a lot of wars, a lot of late 1800s wars against a term that is a slur in Canada, so I can't say it, but I know it's not a slur in America.
Right.
I think I've talked about this before, but when you teach U.S. history in Canada, because there's not like a Canadian American history textbook, so you have to use like one that's made in the U.S., and so we always have to be like, okay, everybody, I'm just going to tell you all that like the writer of this book is like this kind of like lefty liberal guy, but he does use a term for indigenous, like for First Nations people in this textbook that is a slur in Canada, so maybe we're just going to acknowledge that and realize that it's the only textbook we got, so we got to kind of move on.
Oh my! See, I was even joking about the slur thing earlier, but that came up apparently. Oh my gosh, I was so prepared on accident.
But yeah, yes, it's also complicated because we also have a very important government law, like our treaty stuff with indigenous people is also called like the Indian Act, and so it's like it's very complicated.
It's very, very complicated. It's complicated here too, because we'll try to use terminology that we think is good, but then the actual people, under that terminology are like, no, don't use that, use this. And we're like, are you sure you want us to use that term? Because it feels more offensive to us. So it's so confusing all over.
As a proportion of the population, indigenous people are like a larger percentage of the population of Canada. So I think it's a more forefront issue. Like we have a couple of provinces that are majority indigenous people, and we have like territories like Nunavut and Northwest Territory, or not Northwest Territory. That actually is not majority indigenous because of mining, but Nunavut is a primarily Inuit thing. And Inuit is also a term that we use that I know that Americans use another term that would be considered a very nasty slur in Canada.
Hey, we're trying not to, okay? We're trying not to. We're trying to fix that one.
Yeah, you have Inuit people in like Alaska and stuff, right? So you do have to. They are part of your world.
Yes.
Yeah. So
it's complicated.
Yeah. Settler colonialism, super fun. Okay. In episode 103, we also talked because if I remember correctly, in the episode, the main guy behind a lot of the claims around the Dulce secret site is a person who almost definitely has actual schizophrenia.
Yes.
And sort of we had a good conversation at the end about how one of the things that this whole back and forth could happen is that pseudoscientists or pseudo-historians and stuff will use people who are in the grips of suffering from mental illness to and when you're dealing with people who have schizophrenia, one of the most dangerous things you can do, even if you want to be supportive, is like validating their delusions. And it seems like we had a case where we had this person who had the sort of UFO community, because they really wanted something to be true, started validating the delusions that he was having, which was like a very vicious cycle. And And so, and it happens a lot with internet pseudoscience and grifters. And as we're even learning today with like ChatGPT, that there's like this whole thing about validating the delusions of people who might be having schizophrenic episodes. That can be very toxic and can hurt a lot of the progress that they've made on their things. That's why it's very if you have anybody who is schizophrenic or has schizophrenic people in their family, know that like it's a very hard condition to live with, and it involves you needing a lot of support of people checking you in and keeping you on keeping you here.
Yes.
So we got this correction from Anonymous. You'll see why in a second, but what they wrote was that they were listening to the episode of Dulce and the discussion of schizophrenia towards the end, and I also identified a danger to the relationship between conspiracy theory and schizophrenia. I can't go into heavy detail, being a caregiver for people with disabilities bound by confidentiality, but one of the people I work with was born to a mother who believes a lot of paranormal conspiracy theories herself. As a result, diagnosis was delayed for years. It didn't seem unusual to her that her son would believe that ghosts were moving things instead of him, forgetting where he put them, or being convinced that he saw UFOs, or being unable to distinguish between facts and lore from TV shows. This also creates problems because he didn't grow up having anyone reliably questioning his delusions. So when he does get any pushback on claims his beliefs or delusions, he can get quite angry at not being believed, and he doesn't know how to vet claims at all, even when the real stories are much more interesting. So, and lastly, thanks for all the union talk. My workplace may hopefully have a first contract ready for a ratification vote after a too close bit of union busting by management. Wish us luck. I'm on the negotiating committee, chief steward, and a wobbly, so needless to say, I'm invested. Fuck yes. As somebody who I was a union steward myself, and also I fucking love the wobblies. I've got an IWW t-shirt somewhere in my wardrobe. You are a fucking champion, man.
Please fill us in. Please fill us in, because this is a year and a half ago when you wrote this. So please let us know, fingers crossed, the good news.
Is it a union shop now?
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, man, I haven't had a chance to talk about how much I love the IWW on this podcast yet. It hasn't. There's no radical labor history related topics on. It's probably not aliens very often.
Darn.
If someone knows
what if the aliens are unionized? Think about that one.
So yeah, as I mentioned in the episode, that when a caregiver or a parent deeply believes in conspiracy theories, it can actually make it harder to find find the signs of schizophrenia. Like, so very often, if somebody is showing the signs of schizophrenia, but they have like conspiracy theory believers in their lives, it can make it very hard to then correctly diagnose, because they're having their delusions validated, which is a real big trouble when you have a serious mental disorder, and one of the main things in the mental disorder is that you have trouble telling the difference between what is real and what is in your head, which you can imagine is a terrifying condition to have.
It sounds not being able to trust what is or isn't real it sounds scary.
Because very often, this is the thing, a lot of times schizophrenia is talked about as if schizophrenic people have like that they are the dangerous ones, or that they're things like, the thing is that like these, like, first of all, schizophrenic people have a very high rate of being abused,
Yes.
as many people who have mental illness experience. But yeah, on top of that, it is a condition that makes it like, depending upon the severity of your case, it can be very hard to live independently. But also, it is a condition that can be extremely terrifying. And if you don't have a support network of people who can kind of bring you down, ground you when you are in the throes of like psychosis, it can be awful. And so if somebody's like that, like if you're like, I'm seeing ghosts, and then your parents are like, you've seen ghosts? Like, they're real. And it's like,
are they
Jesus.
the same ones that I've seen? Yeah.
Even in like the smallest of ways. Can you imagine if you were a kid and you went to your parents, like, I can't sleep in my room, I saw ghosts in the closet, and they'll be like, or there's monsters under the bed, and they were like, I don't know if you remember, there was like that Simpsons skit where it's like, the boogeyman's under my bed, and then he like come home and like they've like turned over the bed and he's got a shotgun, and it's like, I don't want to warn you, but there might be a boogeyman or boogeymen in this house somewhere. And so,
oh man,
yeah, so it's not to shame people who have like unconventional beliefs, but highlight that you need to like mental illness, especially ones that involve like delusions and psychosis, need you to not, even if you have unconventional beliefs, like if somebody, like even if you really want ghosts to be real, and somebody in your life starts saying they see ghosts, do check in, because it could. I mean, I'm not going to say it could be ghosts, because it's not. And if you are the kind of person who believes in ghosts, you're probably not listening to a podcast called It's Probably Not Aliens. But
they are, because they think the answer is always going to be, yeah, it's not aliens, it's ghosts.
Oh, I want that person. But it was say, like, sometimes.
Haven't we talked about like years ago starting a second spin-off podcast called It's Probably Not Ghosts?
Yeah.
Where we just talk about hauntings and things like that?
Yeah, because like the thing is, the reason why I wanted to do that is because this podcast kind of keeps a strong like sci-fi theme to it. So I would love the urban fantasy version, where we could go into like the conspiracy theories and claims around like, ghosts and monsters and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. That would be fun. Once we get the engine,
let's get this current let's get this current podcast back on track.
Let's jam some paper and kindling into this podcast and get the engine running again. And then maybe if we're just like, oh my god, podcast is doing so well, Patreon is overflowing with gold coins, I guess we should start another show. We're all quitting our day jobs and starting another show.
I won't make YouTube videos anymore. It'll just be podcasts from here on.
We're the liberal Joe Rogan. We're the liberal Joe Rogan now.
As an aside, if I could literally just make money talking to you on two different podcasts and just like learn, like literally my job is like to learn stuff and talk to my friend. Like that's so fun. Yeah. I would love for that to be my forever job, but
at the meantime, like
we'll get there.
Yeah,
we'll get
that's
there,
the dream.
maybe.
But as I said, everyone was talking about finding the Joe Rogan of the liberal Joe Rogan. So maybe, I mean,
that's us.
You're bald. I say a lot of weird shit.
Yes.
Combined, we just need to between one of us has to get into working out, and then I think we got it.
All right, twist my arm. I'll become real buff for no reason.
I'm gonna go start doing MDMA. We'll between the two of us, we can probably, like, if we spread out the insanity.
One.
We'll get those fucking those Dragon Ball Z earrings, or we'll learn the dance. And turn into here's a good crowdsourcing thing. Is that going to be Skiston, or is it going to be Trot, or some other sort of
Trot? Skiston or Trot? What's our ship name? Tell us, everyone.
I would say, what's our DBZ fusion name?
All right, fair enough.
Oh man, I don't want to summon fan art, but
oh my gosh, hold on, our last name could be Nice Johnson.
Nice Johnson.
That's pretty good.
Hey, now that's the Joe Rogan of the left right there. Hey, my name is Nice Johnson.
My name is Trot Nice Johnson.
It's almost a real name.
It's almost something.
That's like if an alien had heard names before, and they just like tried to assemble what they thought a human name looks like. Like it's just close enough. Like there's this Italian song by this guy who the idea of the song is to make it sound like American rock and roll, but the song is by an Italian guy who doesn't know any English, so it's like kind of like nonsense that's designed to sound just close enough to English that it's like or it's like
I love my favorite thing are like names that aren't names but sound like names, and it's just like a good comedy thing. Like, you know, you just name a character like Jonathan. It's like so close.
Timothy was one I had.
Timothy.
But Trot Nice Johnson is like the name version of. Did you ever see that picture from like early AI image generation days where it's like a room full of things and it looks like a normal scene until you look at any detail and you realize you can't identify any single object in the picture, and it's like impressively so.
Shapes and colors. Yeah.
I gotta find it. It was really strange. But yeah. I also love Anonymous. You're doing the Lord's work. I mean, working with people with disabilities is a super fucking hard job, and it's not appreciated enough. So thank you for doing that. And 2, fucking unions. Unions are great. I love you.
Yes. Okay. Just like Tristan and I's union.
Yep.
Of
podcasters union.
Our podcast union and our union to fuse into one. left Joe Rogan.
Fusion, ha. Are we gonna do the earrings or the dance? Because it'd be easier on our wives if we did the dance, because then you separate after an hour.
I haven't seen any anime. I'm just winging it with you. I don't know. I know the dance. I don't know the earrings, and it's throwing me off. And I'm trying to yes and so hard, but I don't know any anime.
Okay. Because it's very important, the dance lets you fuse, but only for an hour.
Oh, okay.
The earrings.
We have to keep our podcasts pretty short.
And the earrings are permanent, or not permanent, but like you defuse when you take the earrings off.
Okay, I like that. That's good.
So
I'm imagining it like Steven Universe in the gem fusions. I think. Yeah. So that's what I'm choosing to think of it as. That's my anime. Is Steven Universe. I actually haven't even watched all of Steven Universe. But
surprising for someone who has built an entire career out of comic books and like superhero stuff that anime never was a thing it's interesting. It's interesting that never came.
You know what? Here's what I'll say. Recommend me your favorite anime, and don't make it like 500 episodes of something, because I don't have the time for that. But give me like your best like 2 to 3 season anime or mini-series anime. Everyone listening to this, tell me whether it's old, whether it's new, just give me something that I can go off of. The closest I've seen is all of the Avatar, and I know that's going to make people upset that I am referring to that as anime, but that's as close as I've been to is Avatar, Last Airbender, and Korra.
This will get you a decent idea. Akira, movie.
Okay. Yes. Emily loves that one. I haven't seen it.
It's fucking amazing. And especially because I know how much you love like good animation. Holy shit, it's like some of the best animation ever.
Cool.
Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell.
Another movie. And Pat Labor 2. They're all from like the late 80s, but like they are like sort of the foundational texts of like the first big anime things that got to the West.
That last one's the only one I haven't heard of. I thought for sure you were going to recommend Cowboy Bebop. That's another one people always say.
I'm more on the movie side than the show side, but Pat Labor 2 is like probably like the first like big mecha anime that like made across the ocean. We'll see. Right. My anime is not super strong either, but and if you want one that's really thematic to the show, actually, on Netflix, there is a anime called Spriggan, which is about a elite group that hunt down those ooparts, those out-of-place artifacts. So, and it takes place like in the 80s. There's fun. Like Soviets and stuff. It's like,
cool.
And that's on Netflix. There's like 10 episodes.
Everyone else, recommend me your favorites on Blue Sky or Patreon if you're a listener there. Bonus points, and I know, again, it's going to be controversial, but bonus points if it does have good dubs. So that way I can watch and listen to it while I'm editing. That would be huge for me. But it doesn't have to.
And a little off base.
If it's really, really good, I absolutely am not averse to 2 subs.
And really off base, have you been interested in bande dessinée, like sort of French
I don't know
animation?
what that is. No, I don't know.
Like 10 years ago, I remember in like comic book world, they were saying that bande dessinée was like going to be like, it was going to be as big as like when anime came from Japan, but from France. Which is interesting because France has a lot of like a lot of public. They do a lot of public funding for the arts, and so like they have a lot of really good. I just watched a movie called Mars Express a couple weeks ago, and it is in French and subtitled. So I like it is in French, but it has an English subtitle, and the subtitle's okay.
Sure.
And it is like a sort of cyberpunk mystery story, and it's pretty good. But it's inspired a lot. Like, for example, there were a lot of bande dessinée animators in the Netflix show Arcane. And I think that show is pretty great for its animation alone.
People love that one.
Yeah, and there's a lot of French music. France is secretly, I can't get another tangent, but French is like secretly becoming huge again. Okay, let's do.
All right.
So this one is also from our Dulce one, and I feel like this is one that maybe we replied to before, but Lindsay Mercer wanted to point out that I think we were saying that the Starbucks drink is the cinnamon dulce, which is Italian, not Spanish, and pronounced with a C that sounds like a CH in English. So dolce.
Yes, okay. This is what I was saying. Okay. Thank you for saying this, Lindsay, because I always called it cinnamon dolce, but they would always echo it back to me by saying, yep, one grande cinnamon dulce, and like almost as like you need to pronounce it with the say, not the che. So Lindsay here is saying the Starbucks workers were wrong, and I agree. Thank you.
And Lindsay Lindsay follows up with probably the exact reason why, and it makes sense given the United States, which is that the Starbucks workers were wrong. It's understandable, though, because more Americans are familiar with Spanish than Italian, and so dulce does sound like the Spanish word dulce, which means sweet. So it kind of like, you can kind of get why, like,
that makes sense.
Cinnamon dulce would mean like...
I was in Texas.
Yeah.
I was right on that. Right. I wasn't right on the border, but more than most of America, I was right on the border of Mexico.
I always forget that you lived in Texas. You feel like so out of your...
Yeah.
It feels like you feel so... It feels like you seem like someone who should live in California or something. You seem like a West Coast kind of guy.
I have only ever lived in the South. Other than Michigan, when I grew up in Michigan.
I guess you do have...
always East Coast.
You do have a bit of like Dixie energy, the sort of like, being very, what's it called? Like golden retriever style. There's a sort of like, I mean, like, like there's like the stereotype, like there's there's the other stereotype of people from the South, but there's the stereotype of people from the South of just being like just complete golden retrievers who are a little bit crazy.
Yeah. Bless your heart.
Yeah.
Bless your heart.
I did see on that note that I saw this this video from China of like it's like Chinese like there's a bunch of people in like rural China who like had like a pickup truck that they had like doing like freaking like these like dangerous like these dangerous moves in like this like pit that's like full of foam, and it's just like this absolutely crazy thing, like people are like cheering and it looks like super dangerous. And someone said that like the Chinese are so inventive that they have independently invented Louisiana. Like, and that like we could solve all xenophobia by setting up a redneck exchange program.
Hell yeah. I love it.
So, Lindsay, thank you for validating Scott.
Thank you. That means a lot. I'm still in contact with one of my old baristas from that exact Starbucks in Texas.
See, this is how I know you're from the South.
I will.
This is how I know that you're from the South, because in Canada, if I found out that a barista knew my name, I could never go back to that place again.
I worked there almost every day because I was a cliche. And so I got to know so many of the workers there. Like, I got to see people's first days and their last days. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I was basically a part of that workforce, even though I didn't do any actual work.
Then one more Canada tip. Everybody has social anxiety.
Okay, cool. That's great actually for me.
So like I did a workshop just the other day where I had to say to everyone like we have to, if we want to overcome microaggressions, we have to overcome our Canadian innate need to not cause a ruckus.
Fair enough. Hug it out, as the ad says. Hug it out.
Compared to Americans,
is that great for people with social anxiety? Hug it out.
Yeah. This is the thing. Is like this is another thing that my wife Kelly has pointed out about moving is that like Canadians and we kind of like had like we're kind of in the middle between these two poles, but like compared to Americans, Canadians can feel kind of cold and standoffish because we have such like a culture about like not causing like not like being too emotional in public and like being like all that. It's like and I didn't notice it because this is where I grew up, but Kelly, like, you know, there's this whole like fire and ice thing about Canada and the US. But and then a couple years ago, and I also know that that these people are listeners to the podcast because so Charlotte and Ben, cheers to you guys. I miss you guys. They moved to Seattle last year, but we became friends with a couple who were German, who had come from Germany, and they're like a more extreme version of that. And so we would spend all this time being like, I don't even think they like us very much. But then they'd be like, you are our best friend. Like you are like, not, they didn't say best friend, but like, you know, like, please come see us. Like this is great. Like invited to the party. And so it's just like, that is one thing that the vibe will stick out in the US is that Canadians will feel like they're kind of cold, and that can kind of be interpreted as us being rude, but it's really just that there's a culture around like being a little bit like just being too big is kind of like it's kind of a faux pas. Too friendly sticks out. I know that's weird.
I'll try my best to tone it down.
But I know that you're from the South, which is literally like the opposite of that. So imagine how your average Southerner talks to another person that they never met and realize that we would have the opposite of that.
Gotcha. All right. Cut it out.
Okay. So the next one we got here is from Grant Baugh, and this is not tied to an episode. It's tied to a bunch of different episodes because we kind of covered this subject a few times. So in one episode, we talked about multiple stories about sunken civilizations, and one of you wondered if there are any stories about a city being taken up into the sky. That sounds like a Scott question.
Sure.
Well, the number one source of science fiction stories in America, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, often referred to as the Mormons, have a belief about a place called the City of Enoch, which was a city of people so righteous and holy that they were taken straight into heaven. I don't think the actual scripture comments about the physical buildings, but I think many people imagine the city being literally scooped up.
Ooh, zoom. Up you go.
You know, I gotta say, I have a begrudging respect for the Mormons. Like, I mean, they make a go of it. Their beliefs are like compared to a lot of religions, they have a lot more falsifiable beliefs that have been verified to not be true, but they stick with it. They have like they stick with it. They go for it. Like they don't give up. They're like, yeah, like all the Native Americans were from ancient Jerusalem. And then DNA was like, actually, no, they're more related to people from like, you know, Northeast Asia. And they're like, some of them were from Jerusalem. And like, yeah, so like, I don't know. But they really give her.
Yeah. Hey man, I don't know if you're like us or the rest of the internet, but Emily and I watch at least 2 reality shows about Mormons. So we're very much in on, well, they're about Mormons, but they're not like, it's not about Mormonism. You know what I mean? The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. You heard of that one?
I imagine, I'm just going to picture, it's a show about a bunch of women who are Mormons, who are married, but most of the show is what I think would be called testimonial shots of them basically talking about each other's drama, and then fights break out.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
That is the definition of almost every reality show I've ever heard in my life. That's every Real Housewife. That's every like
it's mom talk. It's mom talk. Moms from TikTok. And they're about mom talk, and they always talk about mom talk. And you'll appreciate this. Someone, I think there was like a TikTok ages ago about like a guy watching this show, mishearing mom talk for mon talk. The thing that we've covered,
the secret base in New
here
York,
on this podcast, and they're just like, why do they keep talking about mom talk? Are they gonna go to mom talk?
I would love if like I would love the story of like a bunch of Mormon wives who then end up being like like secretly like working for the government. There's secret like telepathic espionage program.
Yeah,
There's
pretty good.
that's a reality show I'd watch.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah. The other show we watch is Sister Wives, and that's only fun because everything is crumbling, and the guy is an absolute asshole.
See, I want a Ghost Hunters reality show, but not the Ghost Hunters don't make it. It's a group that follows the Ghost Hunters.
Oh, that's good. Let's just take everything one level a little deeper.
Yeah, we're gonna. I mean, how much of the internet is like people watching other people watching a thing and responding to it?
That's true. Very true.
I think Bo Burnham.
I'm sorry to derail us.
It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Okay, so let's go into that. So the city of Enoch. So the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or the Mormons, does believe in the concept of the quote city of Enoch. It is that Enoch and the inhabitants of Zion, his city, were so righteous and heavenly that Heavenly Father took the entire city up into heaven. Heavenly Father is just what Mormons call God. It's just a thing. So it was established by Enoch and consisted of righteous people who practiced the law of consecration, sharing their goods and wealth in common to eliminate poverty. And then it was taken, the fact that it was taken up to heaven, though, is a unique Mormon tradition. And it differs because, it's the opposite. But according to the LDS Church, the second coming, the city of Enoch is going to return from heaven. So there is a city in heaven.
Okay.
And that
it's gonna come back.
The belief is that, so I guess like the belief is that actually, yes, the entire city is in heaven. So there are holy buildings and stuff like that. And according to scripture, it states, Zion was not, for God received it up in his own bosom. And from thenceforth, the saying, Zion is fled. Think about it.
Okay. Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about it.
So it is, man, but LDS is full of all sorts of fun stuff. So I'm surprised that LDS hasn't actually inspired more like UFO lore, because fundamentally their theology is the belief that all humans on Earth, all humans in the universe, I think, all come from a planet that where God had like billions and billions of children, and that then they're sent to Earth to determine whether or not they're ready to like become gods themselves, and so they kind of forget their lives,
get their own planet.
And then if you die, you and your wife and your kids go to a planet and become their own gods.
Or wives, plural.
Wives, plural. Yeah. I mean, I feel like LDS has gotten enough shit for that over the years. I mean, like the thing is, like these beliefs are like no wackier than like any other religion, so I don't really see them as like distinctly strange. The only thing that does stick out to me is that they do things like they have a book that is claimed to have been translated from an Egyptian like piece of parchment that like Joseph Smith bought from a trader because at the time the Rosetta Stone was, only so long been discovered, and like the translations hadn't happened yet. But now we do know ancient Egyptian, and like we know that the exact plate that he was talking about was like a part of the Book of the Dead, and it's like kind of like an incantation, and has nothing to do with like, I think that's claimed that it belonged to like Abraham or something.
I feel like people smarter than me have probably discussed this in more detail, and maybe this is an oversimplification, but I almost feel like the reason why Mormonism specifically like stands out as kind of weird in people's minds is almost just because it's like so much newer than a lot of other religions, and so it just feels different in that sense. Like it's newer, but it also is big. Because there's a lot of like newer religions that aren't nearly as big as Mormonism. I don't know.
There's like this
just my thought.
Yeah, there's like this. It came to mind because there's like this ex-Mormon YouTuber who the algorithm will just not stop feeding to me, and her videos are kind of fun to watch because I don't really know a lot about LDS because I haven't interacted a ton with Mormons. There's not as many of them here as there is in the U.S. So. I know that they are highly represented. I know that they one of the fun things is that they're highly represented in like the CIA and stuff like that. And the reason is because they're one of the few populations of Americans that can reliably be called upon to speak a second language.
No, well, there you
go. Okay, so this is the idea is that it's the idea of a righteous city literally ascended to heaven is unique to the LDS. And it's kind of like an inversion of the sunken city. But there you go. You have your answer. There is a floating
That's
city.
cool. City is up. City is up instead of down.
And look at us. We're almost at exactly an hour, and that was the end of my my things.
You know what I like about these episodes, Tristan, is not only do we get held accountable by people who bring more information to this stuff, or even just like we get validated sometimes. In the case of Dolce, you know,
Dolce
cinnamon
Gate, yeah.
Dolce, yeah, Dolce Gate. But it's also like, it's kind of also an excuse for you and I just to go off on tangents and talk about things that maybe wouldn't have made it into other episodes. A lot of this episode has been us talking about other things not related to the corrections, but I think it's fun.
These episodes are the closest to what our actual conversations are like.
Yes. The joke at the beginning that we didn't realize we were recording a podcast is so close to being accurate in these episodes, because we just talk and we're just like, oh yeah, we're supposed to be like entertaining. That's weird.
We're just naturally I'm naturally info dump. I found a way to turn my info dumping neurodivergence into productive use, and you're funny. You're funny, and you know a shitload more about pop culture than I do. That's for sure.
Hey, you knew about anime.
That is true.
And you also knew about bare naked ladies. So give yourself some credit.
Want some more interesting acts that you probably didn't know were from like the sort of area that I lived in? Finger 11, if you remember Finger 11.
I don't.
You might be a bit too young for Finger 11. They were really big around like 2004, 2006, that gap period.
Okay.
And Alexis on Fire.
Avril Lavigne. I know Avril Lavigne.
Yeah, she's from
Canadian.
Timmins, I think. Like it's like a little small town in northern Ontario.
Fun.
During the whole thing, thing that what's it called? Like during all the Canada and the U.S. fighting each other. Did you ever see? He was a really big deal here, but Charlie Angus was doing a lot of stuff was talking a lot about the U.S. and everything.
No.
Because he's like a Canadian former politician who did a lot of like talking about America, talking about Trump and all that kind of stuff, and he used to be the MP for Timmins.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I missed that. Darn. I have to pay attention to Canada stuff now if we end up going. I have to be really. Maybe I'll just have you on speed dial, and I'll just have you on secret speakerphone where you're muted, but you can hear everything that I am saying and interacting with in Canada, and then you just like text me like, Scott, you should say this.
It'll be like that Nathan For You bit where he goes in, he wants to show how confidence is how you get a job interview, like how you score a job interview is not really what you say, it's how confident you are. So he goes in with an earpiece with a 10-year-old in the van listening in, and he has to say literally everything the 10-year-old says. But he says it with like absolute confidence.
Yes. Incredible. That's what we're gonna do. I'm saying this like you do. I mean, like, obviously you live in Canada, but Canada's big.
Yeah.
You can't just come with
I do have some cultural competence. I did live in
go.
Quebec. Like, if I really wanted to, Montreal is like probably like a 10-12 hour drive from where I live.
Easy.
If I really wanted to hop on a train and get over there or something,
And that's, you know what's great about that is you can listen to some great podcasts while you're
that's true.
While you're on that drive over. I mean, a great one that I would recommend is this very podcast.
Yeah.
Probs Not Aliens. You can follow us everywhere at Probs Not Aliens. And also support the show, patreon.com/probsnotaliens and nebula.tv/probablynotaliens, where we upload episodes early as soon as we're back on track with our recording and release schedule. But Tristan, what do you do on the internet these days?
I have a YouTube channel called Step Back. I am working on a video right now about Hindu nationalism, and I'm very nervous because I'm actually interviewing like a kind of prominent Berkeley professor in a few weeks for it, and I'm hoping that once that's done, I'll be pushing forward and making some really fun stuff. I have a bunch of other random videos I want to make. I'm still working on it. I know that I've been letting down a lot of people who want to see my stuff. I am working on it. It is a thing. Luckily, I have Thanks to Scott, I have Cade now who will help me with making videos faster. So
Yeah.
Scott, though, if I really needed to
Yes.
know important things like C-3PO, how he get red arm.
How he get red arm. Gosh, that was a video that took off unexpectedly all those years ago. And that was a comic book related thing too. That was fun. Yeah, that's my YouTube channel, NerdSync, NERDSYNC. I make YouTube videos sometimes. You're listening to the end of this podcast, so you are invested at this point. I feel like every YouTuber on the planet right now is like sort of in dire straits or distress monetarily to like get stuff out, or like just like crumbling at the state of the world and being like, what is even the point of me making stuff? So I'm trying to make videos. Even though I haven't made many this year. So I'm trying to embrace slop, and I'm trying to also just get
You're in your slop era.
I'm in my slop era, which is funny because I posted a video that I thought was slop, and people were like, Scott, stop calling this slop. And so maybe I'm not in my slop era, but that's how I see it. And if I need to see a low effort video as slop, even though people think it's very vulnerable and interesting and introspective, and they're like, this isn't slop, then, but it gets me to make stuff. So that's what I'm going to do. Yeah. Anyway, that's NerdSync. And Tristan said, step back. Leave your reviews of this show on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, all these places. It really does help us out.
Or patreon.com/probs not aliens, where we're crowdfunding that this money goes towards. At the moment, it's this money goes towards paying editors, paying for
Yes.
I think that sometime soon we're gonna do an equipment upgrade for myself.
Yes, for Tristan specifically. Yeah. So that would be great. If you wanted to know where the money's going, it's almost exclusively editors, so we can try and get this podcast going out. Because the main reason we took breaks for so long is just because of me, and because I was editing the podcast and I did not have time to do it, and then just other stuff got in the way. So editors, we're trying to get back, trying to help us out, and that's where the money's going. And then eventually a nice little upgrade in recording equipment for Tristan that will also help things out, speed up production. But yeah, it would just really help us out. It would be great if you wanted to support the show over there. Tell your friends about the show. That also helps. And a great place to send people is a very simple website, probsnotaliens.com. It's got links to all the places you can find us and everything. So go check it out. Yeah. I'm done talking.
Yep. So until next time.
Oh, I have to say my name. I'm so bad at this podcast. I was like waiting for you to say the outro line, but it's not until I say my name. Until next time, my name, you know what my name is.
And
you know my name is Trot Nice Johnson.
Yeah, I am also Trot Nice Johnson, and the truth is out there. Probably. There you go. I said it with my accent, my Ontario accent.
It's probably out there.
Probably.
It's probably out
now we have to find a way, if we're going to be fused, how to say probably and probably in the same word. Probably.
Probably.